Support for Just Seen It comes from Warner Archive Instant. Streaming hard-to-find movies and TV shows direct from the studio at WarnerArchiveInstant.com. Support for Just Seen It comes from Acorn Media, distributors of the gripping British detective series Vera, starring Oscar nominee Brenda Blythen, now on DVD. On this episode of Just Seen It, we review the new CBS drama, Under the Dome.
Till I hear otherwise from the mayor above, you're not authorizing anything.
The storylines are pretty predictable, but I think there's enough mystery and intrigue to keep you watching.
Pedro Almodovar's comedy, I'm So Excited.
Lo mismo se parte el avión. O explotamos, que esa es otra.
It's a campy, raunchy screwball comedy. You'll either love it or hate it.
Based on true events, The Bling Ring.
Oh my God, this is Balmain. So cute.
Even though the majority of these characters are despicable, it's very difficult to look away from what you're watching on screen.
Then we go undercover with Melissa McCarthy and Sandra Bullock in The Heat.
On top of my head like a normal person.
What is the difference?
Just move on.
It's an action comedy I've seen a million times before. It was like every Melissa McCarthy role, now in this movie.
All right here on Just Seen It. The bucolic community of Chester's Mill is preparing for its annual parade. But a mysterious force field suddenly surrounds the town. The residents realize they are cut off from the world in Under the Dome.
Hi, I'm Rachel.
I'm Leah.
And I'm Kevin, and we're here today to talk about the new CBS series Under the Dome. We've all just seen it. Leah, tell us about who created it.
Well, this is the new hour-long mysterious sci-fi horror show that is courtesy of Stephen King, based on a book written by Stephen King. We have showrunners and show creators Brian Vaughn, who brought us Lost. Got any Lost fans out there? And Neil Baer, who is longtime television producer, writer, who is probably most well known for his work with ER. We've got this small fictional town called Chester's Mill, set in Maine, and suddenly, out of nowhere, boom, this invisible, impenetrable dome just appears over this entire town. The show is formulaic. It follows all of the hour-long kind of horror, mystery,
Which there's so many
sci-fi
of nowadays.
You know, and what did we have? Supernatural and Jericho and Fallen Skies and Lost and, you know, so this whole kind of spate of horror that makes it to the small screen. For me, having Stephen King attached as one of the executive producers tells me that it will hopefully do a much better job than Lost did.
This is a very story-based show.
Right.
Yes.
And, you know, there's the Stephen King suspense that's in it, and I think from a story perspective, this is going to be a very good show. From a dialogue perspective and a character development perspective, this show, it's not as strong as it could be.
We've only seen the pilot.
Right.
And every pilot always has to do we need to introduce everybody really quick.
Right, we need to, the formula.
Has to drop.
We got to introduce the characters, then something has to happen,
Right.
and
We
then
gotta hook the audience,
We got to
yeah.
hook the audience. And the formula is what helps us know what kind of show we're watching. So that makes us comfortable.
Yeah.
But then there's enough mystery and switch that kind of goes, whoa, that's different.
Right.
It's less creative than Hannibal. It's less dark. It's got less character development than Breaking Bad, and it's got less humor than Dexter, and 2 of those shows are actually coming back this summer. So I think the show will do all right, but I don't think it's as strong as those 2.
Well, I think Under the Dome is actually different enough from those shows, because those, you know, they're on Showtime, they have a very niche audience. This kind of opens up to a wider audience, because there's lots going on and lots for people to kind of enjoy.
So one of our leads is Mike Vogel, who plays Barbie, and he's ex-military, we believe, and Rachelle Lefebvre, who plays Julia, this investigative reporter extraordinaire. And the minute that they appear on the screen at the same time, you think, those two are going to hook up somehow.
So I really like the teenagers. There's Alexander Koch as Junior, and Britt Robertson plays Angie, and they're together at the beginning, and then something happens, and then it gets weirder by the end. But I thought they were compelling characters. I like the actors.
I found him to be a little telegraphic in his acting. I mean, it was just like, I'm supposed to be crazy now, so here, I'll act crazy. So hopefully, you know, with some other direction.
Right.
So Dean Norris plays Big Jim Reaney, who's hiding something. We know there's something weird going on with propane, and he seems actually like one of the more compelling characters to me in the show so far, and I think that's the writing. But I do believe he will become one of the main characters to watch.
The director of the pilot is Niels Arden Oplev, who directed actually the Swedish version of The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. And I think he does, you know, a serviceable job. I mean, it's not overly stylized, but it has a, you know, a nice look to it.
Yeah, the pacing is very solid. There's never like a dip in the action or any energy.
Oplev clearly knows what he's doing behind a camera and is able to deliver serviceable performances, although I think that there is more work that could be done in terms of nuancing some of his actors' work. I had a hard time with the geography sometimes. I didn't really know where we were, if we were inside the dome, if we were outside the dome.
That was the big confusing thing, is you're seeing all these cars and people like in emergency mode rushing around. You're like, are we in? Are we out? I don't know.
And sometimes you can't even see the dome.
Right.
Because it's so transparent. I'm like, are they really talking to each other? Or are they?
But he also did a good job with things like special effects. I mean, you can see that there's some money on the screen here. This is part of the risk-taking that I think CBS has engaged in and working with Stephen King, and I think it's going to work for them.
So where do we think the story's going to go?
I mean, you've got a bunch of ants basically that are caught under, you know, a dome or a bowl, whatever you want to call it.
We don't know yet.
They're all going to be fighting for resources, and it's going to become a power struggle.
There's a supernatural element that is working its way throughout the storyline as also. So I think that there's enough for everybody going on in this show.
I agree. It's hard to judge a series based on one episode, but I think the characters and situations are so intriguing that I'm going to say see it.
Under the Dome feels very familiar and predictable, but I think there's enough mystery and intrigue and great performance to keep us watching. I'm going to say see it.
For summer viewing, the show is better than most, but I feel like the dialogue and the characters could use some more tweaking, and for that reason, I'm going to give it a stream it.
Our votes add up to 2.5 tickets, which is a see it for Under the Dome. Cheers.
Cheers.
Let's hope we get out from under the dome.
Oh,
Can't we just dig under?
The landing gear on a flight to Mexico malfunctions. As the plane searches for an open runway, the first-class passengers become fearful. So the eccentric flight crew must figure out a way to ease their anxiety. I'm So Excited.
Hi, I'm Kevin.
Hi, I'm Zoriana.
And I'm Aaron, and today we're here to talk about the new film from Pedro Almodovar, I'm So Excited. We've all just seen it.
The film is this campy, raunchy screwball comedy about a plane that's circling in the air. It needs an emergency landing, but there's no airport that's willing to take it. So the flight attendants are busy keeping the passengers happy, and by doing that, they engage in lots of drinking, sex, singing, drugs.
And drugging the entire coach section of the plane. Why would you drug the entire coach section of the plane?
Because we're only supposed to focus on first class. It's a plot device.
No. I'll tell you exactly why. Because the film is a metaphor for Spain's current political and economic climate, which is they're in a recession, there's corrupt government officials, there are lots of financial embezzlements, the banks went bust. And so in this film, the plane represents Spain. They don't know who's commanding the ship, there's nowhere to go. It's like limbo area. And that's Spain right now, and that's the same as these passengers.
The thing that really bothered me about this film is that it just felt like it was two different movies. At times it felt like it was a slapstick Mel Brooks movie, and then at other times it felt like it was a Hitchcockian thriller. And I just didn't know what it was trying to be, and it didn't do a great job of assuring me that I was watching A or B.
This is basically a return to his 80s work, like Pepe Lucy Bomb, Labyrinth of Passions, Women on the Verge of a Nervous Breakdown. That was all sort of in that vein here.
See, and I recognize that he was going back to Women on the Verge of a Nervous Breakdown, that era. Those movies, to me, were clever, they were smart. My problem is that it felt dated, and all the jokes kept on falling flat for me because it just felt like I had seen them before, and they didn't seem really that original.
You're laughing at things that are so outrageous that you keep thinking, God, if this was a Hollywood movie, they'd never get away with this.
Can we talk about getting away with things? He stepped over a line.
What line?
So there's a woman who wants to lose her virginity.
She's a virgin psychic, yes.
Right. So she goes to the coach section of the plane. There's a guy sleeping.
And she loses
She loses her virginity with him. If that was reversed, that would be rape. And we're supposed to laugh at that.
But look at some of his previous work. He did a film where there's a woman in a coma and 2 male nurses have sex with her. How did you feel about that one?
I'm offended. But wasn't that a drama?
Yeah, but see, so does it matter if it's drama?
But I'm just saying it's a drama, and it's disturbing, and I feel like that was more thematically in there. Here, I'm supposed to be laughing at it.
Yes,
and I don't
you're
think it's
supposed
funny.
to, because he's a hot guy, she's an older woman.
But he's sleeping, so he's not consenting to it. What if he's gay? What if he's married? What, you know, I was thinking of all these things, like she has no idea, but she's taking advantage of him, and we're supposed to think it's hilarious. But if it was reversed, you would be like, oh my God, this is terrible.
Well,
yes.
we could certainly say that it's an unpredictable film. Let's put it that way. I wouldn't say that it's in a good way all the time. Sometimes it is, but it's using a lot of different kinds of comedy and a lot of different styles. I mean, you've got slapstick, you've got dry comedy, you've got screwball. It's all over the place. But I liked it at times. The actors were pretty good.
The actors looked like they were having a blast, and they all had different quirks.
The standouts for me are the 3 flight attendants. They're just so over the top and doing that musical number and everything. I mean, I was laughing at them more than anybody else.
Yes, they definitely are scene stealers.
Para enfrentarme a esas fieras, necesito pasarme de la raya. Cuando te pones en plena heroína, Joserra, me das miedo. ¿Quieres?
You want to see them. Every time they come on, like, you just want more of them. There's the guy who can't lie, and then there's the one that's got his little
prayer thing.
Yes, prayer thing, and they were great. I mean, they should get their own spin-off. They're hysterical.
They were the comedic backbone.
I mean, they were fine, and there was things that I did find interesting about it. I just felt like Much Ado About Nothing, where you have a famous director gets all his friends together and says, we're just gonna make a movie, because it looked a little cheap. It didn't feel like they were ever on a plane. And it just felt like he said, here's your characters, go.
But do you think you're being hard on him because it's an Oscar-winning filmmaker?
It doesn't matter who it is. I'm surprised that it was him, because I do like his body of work. I don't think I've disliked any of his films. And this one was so shocking at how it just seems stale to me.
Even though there are characteristics of this film that make us feel like the plane isn't actually moving, there's a reason why we're there. We're in this tight, enclosed space for the same reason that Hitchcock used to do that, you know, to keep everybody together, to prevent them from escaping this situation that they're in.
Just like the Zucker Brothers Airplane film, same thing.
It felt like that.
Confined environment.
It reminded me of Airplane, but I kept on thinking, God, Airplane's such a better movie than this.
I think it's nice to see Pedro Almodovar loosen up a little bit. His last few movies were a little more serious, with The Skin I Live In, All About My Mother. So it's really nice to see him channel his inner John Waters.
Even the greats sometimes stumble, and here Almodovar has tripped and fallen long and hard down an entire flight of stairs. Skip it.
If you've discovered Almodovar post-Oscar win, you know him as a serious guy, so this might be slightly offensive, but if you're a true cinephile of his entire body of work, you'll appreciate this 80s throwback. See it.
Perhaps the strangest art house comedy mystery I've seen this year. I'm so excited is a unique film, and it's worth a watch at home. Stream it.
Well, our votes add up to 1.5 tickets, so that is a stream it.
Cheers!
I'm so excited.
With the 4th of July holiday coming up, we go back into the vault and offer you the best summer blockbuster ever released, well, on the 4th of July. The 1996 alien invasion thriller, starring Will Smith, Independence Day.
I think you should listen to this. This better not be another damn Russian spy job.
Boys from air traffic res say the skies are clear.
It's the real thing. A radio signal from another world.
Let's just get there as quickly as possible.
What's the rush, huh? Think we'll get to Washington and won't be there?
In this story, not-so-friendly aliens invade Earth, bent on destroying humanity and taking away our planet's precious resources. But we humans don't give up without a fight. So Will Smith, who plays Captain Steve Hiller, along with an all-star cast that includes Jeff Goldblum, Judd Hirsch, and Bill Pullman as the President of the United States, unite to battle the invaders. So there you have it, a great summer popcorn flick where lots of things blow up for your home theater entertainment. Crank up the AC and enjoy.
Based on true events, a group of teenagers rob the homes of celebrities.
Paris Hilton's hosting a party in Vegas tonight.
Where does she live? Do you think we could find a way in?
To their surprise, they quickly amass a fortune in stolen goods.
And that's a cute dress. Did you get a new dress? Mm-hmm.
But when a heist goes awry, they must face their crimes in the Bling Ring.
Hi, I'm Salim.
I'm Kevin.
And I'm Aaron, and we're gonna take it all the way back to 2010 with The Bling Ring, directed and written by Sofia Coppola. We've all just seen it.
So The Bling Ring is about a real-life bling ring, about these 5 kids from the Valley who decide to rob celebrities and get caught.
Mm-hmm.
And one of
they
those
don't decide to get
to
caught. They get caught.
They
Right.
end up getting caught, yes.
They did it for about 3 years, I think.
Yeah.
And robbed, I don't know, 6 or 7 different celebrities' houses
numerous
on multiple
times.
occasions.
Yeah, including Paris Hilton and Rachel Bilson and Orlando Bloom. And that's really kind of all it's about, but it's kind of fascinating.
I remember when I heard about the Bling Ring 3 years ago, I heard about rich teenagers who are overly privileged stealing stuff from celebrities, and I was like, oh, that sounds about right. So of course, they're gonna make a movie about it. And it's interesting because you hate all of these characters immediately. None of them are really anybody that you wanna write home about. They're all vapid, but that's what's so intriguing about it, is that you can't look away from these characters.
Oh my god. Jesus. So cute. Oh. Wait. It's so cute. Oh my god. Check it. Meow.
I liked the lead guy, Israel Brassard plays him. His name is Mark. Mark is sympathetic, and I think they give him a nice reason for why he gets involved and gets kind of sucked into this whole thing.
If there's anybody you're supposed to relate to, it's him.
For sure. Yeah. And then the thing is, yes, you don't like any of these people because they're all awful, vapid, terrible people.
But it's on purpose.
It's so interesting to watch them that I couldn't stop watching.
That's what's so interesting about it. I felt the same way coming out of the movie. I was thinking, I really liked it, but I didn't like any of the people in it. And it was, some of it had to do with the performances, but mostly it was just because there's nothing to connect you to these characters.
Exactly.
And she did that on purpose. And because you're not supposed to like these vapid valley kids.
Exactly.
And you don't.
Well, I mean, it's a fascinating view into the vacuous youth of today. I loved how rich and realistic this film was in terms of talking about these vapid characters, as compared to something like Spring Breakers, which I felt was a little bit unrealistic because it was done through a male's perspective, whereas this film, obviously, Sofia Coppola, she has a little bit better handle on these voices.
Well, it is based off of a Vanity Fair article that came out in 2010, and after having seen the movie, I went home and I read the article, and I was shockingly surprised at how much was actually true in the movie, and then also happened in real life. I mean, I couldn't get over how dumb these celebrities were. I was thinking, there's no way that Paris Hilton is just gonna leave her house with the alarm turned off and the doors open and a key under the mat, but that's exactly what she did.
And they all did it. They all left something open.
Just don't understand.
And I think what's interesting about that is that they felt they were untouchable because they kept on repeatedly robbing these places, almost partying inside these houses. And we think, oh, yeah, that's ridiculous. But then we look at the celebrities, and they're like, I don't have to set my alarm. Who would rob me because I'm too famous? I'm untouchable, but they're not.
A lot of these people want to become celebrities. That's their whole goal in life, or at least that's what they want to be.
One of the kids had a reality show, Nikki, who's Emma Watson's character. She's actually based off a girl named Alexis Nyers, who had a reality show called...
At the time she got arrested.
Right. Well, and it's fascinating because she's not even the leader of the Bling Ring.
Right.
She just became the face of the Bling Ring because she's this Valley girl who is not camera shy and will espouse her views.
And while we do have to talk about the cast, I had one complaint. Katie Chang, who plays Rebecca, it's her first acting role. I think it's just her first time acting in general. And I know that she's supposed to be, stone-faced and not have any emotion, and that's what you're supposed to get from her, but it just came across as her not acting well.
But I was okay with it because her character to me was just this robot. She only cared about one thing, and it was prevalent throughout the whole movie that she just cared about one thing. She did not care about this new friend that she had, even by the end when she doesn't even acknowledge him when they're in court.
She never ever sounded like she was excited about anything or
But
even...
do kids today sound like that? I mean, we've been joking around where Emma Watson's character is like, I want to go rob.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't seem even excited to do it.
Yeah, it's like how much of it is in the writing that's lacking, or is it these people are just lacking?
My favorite was Emma Watson.
Of course. Oh, yeah, of course.
She's
She's the best part.
She really was. Like, she had that accent down.
Yeah, I mean, like, she was able to elicit a lot of the humor because she was able to do this character so realistically.
We're definitely laughing at them, not with them.
Right, and I think we're supposed to, which is the good thing, too.
Well, let's talk about Sofia Coppola a little bit. What did you guys think about her directing job?
She's got a lot of different styles. She always does different things. You can tell that she came from a film family background and she knows what she's doing. She knows what she wants to take from certain genres, and she uses a lot of modern stuff too. You know, like different
Webcams.
webcams and all the music. Oh my God, the soundtrack is fantastic.
She's straightforward and non-judgmental with the way she places the camera, the way she shows things. She certainly was trying to make us laugh at these people and kind of be flabbergasted by them, but it wasn't a parody. She wasn't telling us, like, laugh at them now. She was just saying, like, here they are, you make your own judgment.
Though the film does lag a little bit in the second act, I think seeing these characters operate on screen is worth the price of admission. See it.
The story is so crazy you cannot believe it's true. It's handled so well by Coppola and her capable cast that I say a definite see it.
The Bling Ring isn't perfect, but it's a very fun and well-made film that I've been thinking about for days, so I say see it.
Yay.
All right, guys, cheers.
Bling bling. Cray cray.
Let's go, Rob.
A ruthless drug lord wreaks havoc on the streets of Boston.
Hank LaSoir. Got tons of ties to the drug world.
To take him down, a neurotic FBI agent is paired with an ill-tempered Boston cop.
Hey, look who's here! Right into my mouth! Run, she's crazy!
This mismatched pair must learn to get along to stop a criminal in the heat.
Hi, I'm Aaron.
I'm David.
And I'm Leah, and we're here to discuss the new Sandra Bullock, Melissa McCarthy film, The Heat. We've all just seen it. Who wants to start?
I really think that the dynamic between these two actresses was hilarious. You have Shannon, Melissa McCarthy's character, who's completely out of control and a total slob, and then you have Sandra Bullock's character, Sarah, who's anal retentive and totally high-strung.
Sarah Ashburn, are you about to be interrogated by an officer?
I am an officer, and that's my perp.
Could you just close the door on the way out?
I'll shut the door on you. Will you lay down here, put your head in the door, and I'll slam it about 157,000 times.
Oh, girl, you better run.
So our screenwriter is Katie Dippold, who has worked on Mad TV and written a couple Parks and Rec episodes. So coming into it, I thought, you know, she's done some good things. Hopefully this will be a good script. It's her first feature film, and it really shows. It's not strong. The premise ends up feeling so contrived to me that it's like a poor mixture of Starsky and Hutch and Miss Congeniality. Two movies that could work if they had crafted a little bit of finesse in the script, but it just didn't end up working.
You could have told this entire story without Sandra Bullock's character.
Her character, Sandra Bullock's character, Sarah, has a character arc. At the beginning, she's so high-strung, her career isn't going anywhere, and she actually learns from Shannon, Melissa McCarthy's character, how to be more of a street cop.
Bullock's performance in this film was the bastardized version of the Miss Congeniality character, and consequently, because I believe that the character is not well written, the character is not rooted in any kind of emotionality, you just don't care about her.
They're so by the numbers. There's nothing new and exciting about this. The third act was actually a little fun, though. It did lighten up. It became unexpected. We had twists and things like that.
I appreciate the fact that we have female buddy cops here. The problem here is that Paul Feig and Katie Dippold don't have a perspective on what it means to be female cops, and they're not mining the depths of what it means to put these two opposites together and play off of that. Instead, they just say, well, what do action heroes do? We'll just make the girls do the same thing that the boys do. We'll have them throw punches, and we'll have them like big guns, and so consequently, what you have is an unintelligent film where girls are acting like boys.
I was sitting next to the two of you during this movie. You were both laughing.
And I can tell you specifically which moments I was laughing
So can
at.
I. And just because you laugh 4 or 5 times in a movie doesn't mean that it's a good comedy.
Well, what I'm saying is that you guys are missing something. It's a comedy. It's funny.
It was not funny. That movie was not
I'm sorry.
funny.
I laughed from beginning to end.
All of the humor in this film, as far as I'm concerned, emanates from Melissa McCarthy's performance.
I will will agree that, one, this is a story we've seen 1,000 times before. Two, I'd like to see Melissa McCarthy do something different.
For me, Melissa McCarthy is probably the best element of the film, and what we have going on here is fat girl humor. And you know what? That's okay. Clearly she's okay and she's comfortable with it because she does it repeatedly.
In everything she works on.
She does it on Saturday Night Live, she does it in her feature films, and I think that we should be okay about laughing at that broad physical comedy.
I don't think there was anything visually unique about the way that the story was told. I would have liked to have seen some more visual uniqueness, and I don't think that Paul Feig did anything to make this unique and special.
I did like that you have this Shannon cop character who comes in and she's the terror of all the male cops in the police
clearly
station.
everyone's very frightened
of her, and I thought that was interesting. And so we get to see Biff from Back to the Future in here. We have Marlon Wayans, who is in this role, and we're not really sure why he's here.
Michael Rappaport and Bill Burr are in it?
You know, Michael Rappaport, who has a truncated part.
I like them. They were funny. Him and Bill Burr, her family.
And I thought Shannon's family was the most wonderfully dysfunctional family. I've seen Jane Curtin as the mom. I thought
that I enjoyed.
Right, that whole scene with the family was really funny.
Are you a boy or a girl? It's a fair question. I'm female.
No kidding.
All woman.
From the get-go? No operation?
How you get that close to shave on your face?
There was raised stakes in that her brother, who ironically enough she put in jail for his own protection, he just gets out of jail and immediately gets tied up with this drug lord that both Shannon and Sarah are trying to bring down. So there was that raised stakes for me in that she has to try to protect her brother.
What a coincidence.
No, it wasn't a coincidence because he kind of had some tie to it before he went into prison.
It's an action comedy I've seen a million times before. It was like every Melissa McCarthy role now in this movie, and then Sandra Bullock with a sort of subdued Miss Congeniality role in this movie, and that's it.
Can you see this at home? Sure. Is it going to be as funny? No. You want to go to the theater with your friends, grab a big bucket of popcorn, and see it.
Melissa McCarthy gives a laugh-out-loud performance at times, and she's really the only reason to see this movie. Otherwise, the heat lacks fire. Stream it.
I'm sorry to say that The Heat is a mostly unfunny comedy, and I know that there are funnier comedies out in the theaters now, so I say skip it.
Our votes add up to 1.5 tickets, which is a stream it for The Heat.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I do not approve.
Quiet you. On our next episode, we give you highlights from the Critics' Choice Awards, honoring the best in television for 2012. Next, we review the animated comedy, Despicable Me 2, and we finish up with the action thriller, White House Down. Thanks for watching, and see you next week.
You don't fit in?
I am a federal agent.
What are those?
They're Spanx. They're Spanx. They just hold everything together.
Why? What's gonna come popping out?
Support for Just Seen It comes from Acorn Media, distributors of the gripping British detective series Vera, starring Oscar nominee Brenda Blythen, now on DVD. Support for Just Seen It comes from Warner Archive Instant, streaming hard-to-find movies and TV shows direct from the studio at WarnerArchiveInstant.com.